If your boss gave you a call and asked whether you'd like to continue receiving your normal paycheck or if you'd like to receive 3 paychecks, what would you say? Well, back with us today, Laurel and Taylor Steward. They are the husband and wife duo, part of the team at Mattson Financial, full-service financial and retirement firm in the Grand Rapids area, also popular radio show host. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I know what I'd say. I want 3 paychecks instead of 1 when we
right.
As long as they add up to the 1 paycheck,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
A little more.
How many zeros are we talking?
3 smaller paychecks.
But that dependable paycheck that we all rely on every couple of weeks or twice a month, however it comes, when it's gone, when retirement comes, that can probably give us a little bit of uncertainty. So how do we create an income plan in retirement?
So it really starts with 3 things. So number 1 being your dreams, your goals, and your desires. What do you want retirement to look like? And then let's back into that. I know the word budget's not necessarily a fun one, but let's take a look at what your budget is and maybe make some tweaks here and there. But once we understand what you want retirement to do and what you want your assets to do, we know what it costs to, pay the mortgage, the taxes, utilities, gas, all of those things, the everyday needs that we have. Then we can really start creating that income plan and those income sources and which types of buckets of money are we going to be pulling that from.
And, obviously, Taylor, you're telling us that there's a place where we could get multiple paychecks still. I mean, there still could be a paycheck coming in retirement. Is that true?
Yeah, absolutely. So things like Social Security, if you have a pension through work, if you're fortunate enough to have one still, that's great. And then we want to start taking a look at your other investment assets out there. So maybe you've been working and contributing to the 401k all these years or your Roth IRA. Maybe you've had some extra dollars and you've been putting into a non-qualified brokerage account. Now we want to diversify these assets and make sure that we can sustain that income that you need from these different buckets of money, but also taking a look at taxes and making sure that we're paying, the amount of taxes appropriate, but not overpaying.
Right.
That way we're keeping the maximum dollar amount, coming into you, and that those paychecks are larger.
Absolutely. Nobody wants to pay too much taxes. So, Laurel, let's talk, Laurel, how many people are aware of this type of planning? I mean, it seems like doesn't everyone know this?
Well, it seems like they should, but at the same time, when you typically sit down with somebody being an advisor, they're going to talk to you about the returns, right? And that's what you as the, investor look at too, to say, I want, a 10 or 12% return. That all sounds great. But you really need to back it up and saying, okay, you might have those kinds of returns, but what is that going to provide you in income? And that's where we go back to, like Taylor was talking about, that paycheck coming in and keeping a line of sight on your taxes that you're paying, because that's the amount of money then you're going to actually keep.
And taxes can be detrimental. We want to make sure that we have, that growth in those accounts as well, but we want to hedge, our income buckets from any sort of, market volatility. That way, if we do see a 10 or 15% or even larger swing in the markets, we're not taking, money out of our accounts at a discount of 15, 20%, and then paying 22% tax plus, state of Michigan tax or whatever bracket you fall on, and that might increase the taxability of your Social Security. So the taxes are huge.
Tax preparation evidently always seems like a topic we talk about when we get together. Now, for people like me who don't really actively play the market, stocks, dividends, these terms may not really mean a lot to me, but it's something that is important, right?
Yeah, dividends, especially in today's interest rate market, are great because we're not getting those typical yields and such that we're getting, we've gotten on bonds in the past. So looking at some sort of portfolio that is going to have a 3 or 4% dividend yield can really add to the success of your plan. So you're taking that money off of the top and you're not actually touching principal. So we're still letting those, those stocks and other assets grow and harvesting those dividends for income. And they're taxed in a couple different ways. So that's one thing we want to be careful with here is, are we getting taxed at ordinary income rates or long-term capital gains rates? So all of these things kind of come together, and that's why it's important to sit down with a fiduciary advisor to bring all of these puzzle pieces together so we're not missing anything.
Laurel, fiduciary, we hear that term now and then. What specifically does that mean? Why is that a talking point of being a fiduciary?
It is really big because that means that someone is looking out for your best interest. And it's also a recommendation to where we're not going to sit down with you being a fiduciary advisor and look at it for your recommendation today. We need to look out into the future and what's going to still be appropriate for you. If you're married, what does your family situation look like? All based on those goals. And that term fiduciary means that they're working for you.
And I love that. So let's talk, you've talked a lot about taxes today. Taxes has come up plenty. So, and dividends as well, that Taylor was talking about. The taxes off of those dividends, can you speak to that?
Yeah, so you're going to have really two types of tax scenarios when you're taking dividends. We're going to have ordinary dividends where you're going to pay your cap or your normal ordinary income tax rate on, and then we're going to have qualified dividends where we're paying our capital gains rate, if depending on where your income falls, if you're even have to pay taxes on those dividends. So looking at those two situations and understanding what type of dividend am I receiving can give you that clarity on how much tax are we going to be paying on those dividends.
You know, it's confusing to a lot of us, and I'm glad that we have trusted advisors such as yourselves to walk us through this. But honestly, what kind of difference can a proper tax management strategy make? I mean, what kind of income are we talking?
Yeah, it really does make a huge difference, because if you think about it, we do have a lot of clients who come to us and they have saved, $1 million in their 401k. That's their primary asset source. And that means that once they start taking money out of that vehicle there, out of that instrument, they're going to be paying taxes on it, right? So for every dollar you're taking out of that account, because it's pre-tax, you're going to be paying your federal tax on it. It could be as low as 12%. Maybe the next step up is 22%. Then you're adding your state into that, which state of Michigan, we're at 4.25%, and then maybe your local tax as well. And so you can see this really adds up quickly. And if you don't have a line of sight on your taxes, knowing what you're paying, you could jump up those thresholds pretty quickly, just saying, oh yeah, more money, I can turn on my pension, I can take Social Security, and I have my investments coming in here. But now you might just be giving 30-40% away of your hard-earned money.
That's why it's really important when you're looking at those paychecks to understand, are we talking gross figures here? Or are we talking net figures? So again, we're not just writing a great big check to Uncle Sam at the end of each year. We want to make sure that we're paying our fair share, but saving as much as we can and letting that grow. And that starts with diversifying your portfolio based on tax qualifications of money. Laurel had mentioned your 401k. Start looking at things like Roth conversions or contributing to a Roth 401k if you have the option. That way, once we get later on in life and taking some assets off of there, we've got a place where we can take some funds and it's not going to increase your tax base for the year.
All important information, a lot of numbers flying around, but let's get one more number out there. Your phone number, how's that? Because you've got a really good special for our viewers, right?
Yes, so our number is 800-536-8907, or our local number too, 616-514-3831. So for the first 5 callers, if you've saved $250,000 or more for retirement, we're offering you a second opinion or a checkup on your retirement plan to sit down with one of our advisors and start discussing what that will look like for you.
Oh, it sounds great. Thank you so much, Laurel. Thank you so much, Taylor. For you at home, if you'd like to learn more about creating multiple streams of income, Mattson Financial, they've got a great offer. Right now, as you heard, the first 5 callers that have saved $250,000 or more that are retired or nearing retirement, they're offering a complimentary full-blown retirement plan just for you. This will allow them to sit down with you personally, provide you with a roadmap, analyzing where you are right now, discussing your best steps to really get ready for a successful retirement, a game plan to get you where you need to be. The number to call, 616-514-3831. Again, 616-514-3831.